Hi, this tutorial is for understanding the map size and level size in the side-scroller UMG map system. So if you've looked at the overview, you've seen that this can be a workflow methodology for your 3D side-scroller. And what I'm going to show you is you're not limited to the default grid size that is in the downloadable content. So for instance, if we look here, I have a 50K map, which is 50,000 centimeters. This is roughly half the size or half the distance of the tallest building. So if you think of it that way, the tallest building is roughly 830 meters in the world, and so there's a 100K map if you had a bigger game that you were setting up. If you were setting up a smaller map, you might use the 25K map. Now you're not limited in any way to just using these that I've provided. So let's see how this works and see how you can hook your own unique game size into this downloadable content. Okay, so right now we have a 50K map, which is this one, and that's in the overview map, and this is how it's configured in the downloadable content. But let's say, gee, you know, I have a much smaller game and I don't need all of this space, and I want to design a game that, you know, this is just too big. So let's say we want to use the 25,000 centimeter grid. What I've done is I've just, to speed this video up, I've popped this in here and I've moved it around a little bit. You'll notice that I've moved it 1,000 in the Y and just positioned it how I want to. And if we look in the, let's just take a quick glance here. In the Map UI blueprint, if you open that up, which is located here, and it's this one. If you open that up, you'll see over here that we have the user variables. Okay, so for instance, the 50K map is the level Unreal unit size is 5,000. That's really what that's saying is there's 10 grids across and each is 5,000. So you know, 10 times 5,000 is 50,000. So that's the width or the height of the actual level map that we're using. In our case, what we want to do is we want to switch this to the 25K map. So you'll notice I'm just going to turn the 50K map off for a second and make sure that that is hidden in the game, and the 25K map is not hidden in the game so that we can see it. If we come over here, let's launch this, and you'll see that it doesn't work until we switch these variables. So we launch this, play the game, we go into the map, and you can see that we're not on G6. The player isn't on G6. Okay, so the reason is because we have not set these 3 user variables to allow us to use this 25K map. So this is pretty simple. We come over here and we change this from 5,000 to 2,500, which 10 grids across times 2,500 is 25,000. The grid divisions are going to stay the same unless you decide you want to do 8 by 8 or something like that, but you can change that here. The map starting point on our 50K map was 20,000. We're going to set that to what I've set the new map to, the 25K map to, which is 5,000. We're going to set the map starting Y position to 1,000. We're going to save that. We'll compile that. And we'll come back here, and just to have a quick look, what we did was we just set that starting Y value to 1,000 and the starting Z value to 5,000. So what that'll do is that'll register this map in the correct place for tracking the player. So if we come in here, we hit RM, and we can see that we're now registered in the correct place. So really that's all you have to do to use any specific size map. So you could go into, say, Blender or Maya or Max and make a custom size map as long as it's square, and you can plug those numbers into this blueprint and use that however you like. So you can see that, you know, everything tracks correctly. You know, what's not matching here is necessarily the map background, but let's have a look at that. When I say the map background, that's your custom map, because this image was made for the downloadable content at 50K, so I've matched this geo up in the correct space for that 50K map. But the way this works is there's a well, let's look over here. If we look in the materials section, you'll notice that there is material map UI. So for instance, let's say you wanted to design a game and you started off on paper, and this is where it's kind of a workflow thing. You start off on paper and you let's say, for the sake of argument, you do this drawing and you're roughing out and testing your level design. You can plug that into this main material here as a starting point, and what happens is for every level reveal that you have, you can make a mask. So a material instance, your original material, name it 1. This is important. This number here will correspond with your save game map integer. So every time you want to reveal a part of the map to the player, this is really your number that it's going to reveal. So in other words, you can make your custom masks and plug them into these instance materials. You can have as many as you like, and that's kind of how this works. So as your game evolves, you can, for instance, you won't need the grid as much, and so you'll have this developed, and so on and so on. Really, that's these are the main variables that you'll use, which are these four for setting what size your map is. And that's the one thing that you want to determine first, really, is what size your game might be. What I also recommend is when you do decide on what size map you make, you can turn that into a blueprint, and then you'll, with the correct translations on them, and then you can simply drop them into every level, and it'll just work. Anyways, I think that's about it for this first tutorial on understanding the map size and level size, and we'll talk a little bit about